Did you like it? So it's been 11 hours of playing.
Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed, but not read by yours truly. My name is Kaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more amid the towering stacks of the stacks are not so much towering anymore, because I have been...
Has there been a collapse?
The collapse suggests a lack of intent. No, my little
pulled them down.
forklift... Me and my little forklift.
Yes.
I've gone on a sort of rearranging adventure. Now, as you remember, I'm just going to catch all the readers up on the unnecessary lore. I've decided to create some bulwarks in the library against the enemies of the library. Still not totally clear on what those were.
No.
Okay. I think maybe I've gone a little bit overboard.
Again?
Yeah. So last time I ripped out the ceiling to make room for like more floors, and now I've created like a nice annex building and a new sort of reflecting pond that I'm not quite sure how I'm going to waterproof it to get the water in.
But it's all still inside the library building, so you're still like building another new library in the library from the material of the library. It's kind of like that miniature village that like a town has, with a little miniature village in a corner and a little miniature village in that. And it's like miniature villages all the way down. It's libraries all the way down here.
You have once again absolutely nailed it. I would like to welcome you to the new sub-library. Oh, that's going to be a good one.
The new sub-library. Okay.
Yes, because as I was constructing this giant book fort, I decided that it needs a little refectory.
Yeah.
And they probably also want a place to store their books, despite being made out of books. So now there's the sub-library.
I guess we can store the pocket books there.
Oh, that's a great idea. Kay, I love how you're always so on board with my kooky shenanigans. It would be so easy for you to make me feel silly about the stuff that I do while I've been your guest in this library for some 81 weeks now.
Guest,
yeah. Never having seen daylight or tasted the sweet, sweet air of freedom since, except for a brief stint to hell.
I wouldn't call that sweet nor freedom, but
best not to dwell on that.
Yeah.
What's smaller than pocketbooks? Because you can see it's not a very large space, and I worry that it'll fill out.
You've got those things like the little Book of Calm.
That's not a real thing. That was a prop in the first episode of Black Books.
You've seen those books around, they're usually on sale at bookstores, especially in airports and train stations.
Okay, yeah.
The little books that you have on the counter.
The little coin pocket almanacs.
Exactly, that's
that
the
fit
one.
in your
The secret SCS handbook in pocket format, and other things like the little Book of Calm.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that's great. We'll make it. It'll be a little library for like mouses and cats and maybe raccoons.
I'm sure that Tristan would enjoy this.
Yeah, so they will no longer have to stand one atop the other in a trench coat.
Because they have those cute little paws for them. It should work fantastically for them, since it's about their size.
There might be water damage. I mean, we have to convince them not to gently wash the books.
Well, they're not for eating, so I don't think they would.
I'm sorry? You think that there is an object that a raccoon wouldn't eat?
I mean, I'm sure that the raccoons here know not to eat the books by now. The bookworms don't know that, and they will happily munch their way through.
Oh, I wonder if we're going to get little bookworms. Little baby bookworms.
Oh, God. We don't like bookworms here, remember?
No,
they're not there.
Well, a bit of hoisin sauce. Listen, what I'm getting from you is that you're basically on board with this, right? Like, this is an okay new feature.
It seems to be the good course of action to go with you, yes.
Yeah.
I find that encouraging you works better than not doing so.
Well, good.
And putting up with the inane refurbishments of the library.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna take the first part of that as an unqualified rave and just leave the rest as addenda.
Fantastic.
And then I'm going to take the introduction again, and we find ourselves for the first time amid the miniature stacks of my library.
Okay. Where did you get the books at your library?
Where do libraries get books?
They usually buy them, and
they're donated and they're gifted as well.
Yes.
Which, I mean, that's like you did suggest putting the pocket books in here, so I'm not suggesting that it's my collection, right?
So it's on loan, so to speak. Okay,
which is the fundamental thing.
No,
but
I can work with that.
Like as a structure, I feel quite confident, and this is no slight to you. Obviously, your library is magnificent and made of fantastic building materials that I've really enjoyed. But yeah, welcome to my library.
That looks lovely.
Thank you. I think we can expect a lot of expansion because my whatever you call a carpenter's thumb is is that a disease?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, isn't that what happen when you hit it with a hammer?
Ooh, no, I don't want that. I wanted to say something like green thumb, but I want to figure something better.
Well, I don't know, black
wood chipper thumb. None of those are good.
Well, it's like I guess like the wet thumb from that's more like a book licking, like one of those annoying people who lick their thumb before they changed the flip over the page.
I thought it was foreplay. Listen, we'll see how things turn out. But in the meantime, yes, I would like to introduce our readers to the centerpiece of my library, on loan from your library.
It's not a pocket book, though, is it?
No, it's not.
Actually, it was produced by...
God, it's always something with you, isn't it?
Science fiction, no. Oh, it is a pocket book. It says pocket right at the top, so I guess it's true.
Hooray!
It was originally purchased for $2.25. It was a cute little... I won't say raccoon, but I meant...
It's a kangaroo.
Yeah, it's one of those mouse with pockets.
A pocket mouse.
T-Rex deer.
What? What are these words you're saying?
T-Rex deer, that's like kangaroos.
Oh, because of his little hands.
Little forearms.
Yeah, okay. God, it's going to be one of those episodes. I love it. So what do we have in store for our readers this week?
This week's book is by Charles L. Harness, the author of The Catalyst. I don't know why that's relevant. I never heard of that book, but here we go. It's called Firebird, and into the darkest heart of the universe they rode to the ultimate battle between love and science.
And we've done a book by Charles L. Harness before.
Ah, did we now? Which one was that?
Now that was called Chrono, and yeah, you had the planetary surveyors, and they were
trying to kill each other, if I recall correctly.
And then they discovered that they both like pina coladas,
yes,
as that song
goes.
Which
was a bit weird, but okay, yeah. I mean, I didn't think there were pina coladas on that particular planet, but
no, but metaphorically, as in they discovered that they,
I love lots of alcohol, but pina coladas are a little bit on my too sweet for me. It's the coconut and stuff. I mean,
oh no, that's
yeah, I know that's yours.
Yeah, that's totally my jam.
Yeah,
is that the one that you can actually drink like from a coconut?
Probably. I mean, there's not much you can't drink from a coconut.
Milk.
Coconuts have their own milk.
Yeah, it's not milk.
Well, I mean, coconuts is both hairy and produces milk, so therefore it's a mammal.
Okay. Yes. Okay. One day you're going to have to write a philological taxonomy of the world's life forms and
life according to the library.
Yeah, the life according to K. But in the meantime, I mean, we are looking at some spectacular life forms on here.
Yes.
I believe in some areas this book was published under a far more descriptive title, "Sexy Space Lions from Space."
Yes, the cover. The artist very much managed to capture that particular image here. We have a hunky lion man.
Gosh, really?
Only 2 nipples, though, which is a bit like, okay. He's carrying a gorgeous pink-haired lioness, I suppose.
A lion woman,
Although she's got quite a mane for a lioness.
I've got
non-binary sex roles or something.
Sexual dimorphism, I think, is the one you're looking for.
That's the word, yes.
And we've got 2 moons or planets hovering in the sky, and you've got a big old rocket ship in the background
with a nice view. Oh no, it's probably the engine. That's probably not a viewing lounge.
Yeah, it's got a big old caboose. I like that it's a classical rocket ship.
It does have all the hallmarkings of it with the beautifully styled lines and
the needle point.
Yep, and then this fucking big engine at the bottom.
How does one exit one of these things?
Probably through that door right at the top, but I don't see any ladders or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
So that would be a bit dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that's dangerous in this world.
Also,
because
landing that close to the edge of a cliff, that's not very good practice.
One can even imagine that maybe that cliff wasn't there when they landed.
Possible.
That was such a garbage landing that they actually chucked a bit of the land away.
We've got him wearing, I assume they look a bit like space blue jeans.
And a weapon slung at a firearm or a space laser slung at his waist.
Puss in Boots type boots.
Oh yes, very good. He's got the sort of foldy over leather boots
with no toes, so the claws can stick out.
Oh,
which is like OSHA would not like that. It's like those are not work safe boots. I mean, your toes would get crushed.
Well, in his case, I mean, obviously, as a lion person, as he now appears, like he's got the claws. Oh wow, he's got them claws extended. 3 claws, I noticed.
Oh yeah, you're right. But with his hands, it's got 4 fingers.
Oh, that's curious. And he's got a sort of a jewel-encrusted leather bandolier strapped across his bulging chest.
Which doesn't seem to serve any purpose other than decorative.
Yeah, it's not contributing to holding up the weapon, which is on a chain.
Yeah, I like that. That's quite a cute design. I also like the design of that pistol, by the way. It's got a scope on it, by the looks of it. It looks like it's a nice, solid space pistol.
And the lion woman's costume,
yeah.
It's the Theis theory of titillation, named after the costume designer for Star Trek, the original series, a gay gentleman named William Theis, or Theis. I don't know how it's pronounced, but he figured out that the sort of sexiness of a costume is not related to how much skin it exposes,
yes,
but on how likely it is to accidentally fall off.
Oh, yes. And what the chance of a wardrobe malfunction malfunction is.
Yes,
And you're just sitting
exactly.
there constantly hoping for it to happen, and like
It's brilliant because he came up with these rather chaste costumes. Sometimes there's some kind of Greek divine woman, and she was wrapped almost head to toe in cloth, but it was all sort of held together by like a sash slung over her shoulder, and
she
if
looked
that
extremely
slipped,
precarious. Yes,
everything would come off.
yes. The invention of the gownless evening straps, I believe, was one of his.
Yes. So on the cover, we see the heroes of this book, a couple of intergalactic bounty hunters.
Yes, I was very excited to hear about that.
Right? Now, I was surprised at the parallels with a story that we recently read about intergalactic bounty hunting, and it had a lot of overlap. Like the gentleman that we see here, now in his fine Leonine regalia,
Yes.
started off as a regular human on regular old Earth, and he was much like the protagonist of another book that we've done before. He was a night nurse.
Ah, yes, the werewolves from. I can see the cover right for me. The man in the
exactly,
in the
with
gown
the-
facing the werewolf, who he was.
Yes, and it was just a few episodes ago, but now there's another night nurse, this one named Leonard Skeonard, who also was pursued by an intergalactic bounty hunter. In this case, the woman over his arms, Leonia. But it was another case of identity theft because he was actually trying to hunt down an intergalactic criminal called Leopard Skeppard.
Oh yeah. It's easy to get mixed up with those names, especially
Right.
when the universal translators on the fritz again, like they are bound to do whenever the story writer needs a communications breakdown.
As we saw happen with Wolf the Bounty Hunter, and now also with Leonia, the bounty hunter, who had to make do on Earth investigating Leopard Skeppard with Earth-based technologies based on the principle of least advancement. And so, yeah.
What is the principle of least advancement?
Well, when you're a bounty hunter on a more primitive, like non-galactic planet...
You're not allowed to use any technology that they don't have available there.
Yeah, and some allowances are made, like if you know that the villain that you're chasing has brought more advanced technology, then that's about as high as you can go.
You're
But
not
for
allowed
the
to out-technology them, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
While originally Leonard Skeonard was a regular old human, Leia has always been a lion woman. She is from a planet known as Leonia that she departed from a long time ago. And in similar fashion, Leonard Skeonard, having discovered the galactic life, decides to go with
Skip
Leia.
Earth with her and like turn to the life of international bounty hunting. Sorry, interplanetary bounty hunting.
Yeah, and they gradually develop a friendship that deepened. I liked how that was portrayed in all the flashbacks.
I would say that would be a partnership, even in more ways than one.
Definitely, until eventually they find themselves happily married as a husband and wife team of bounty hunters bringing justice to the wild portions of the galaxy.
Bounty hunters aren't traditionally about bringing justice. They're more about bringing people into justice. Maybe they're not about dealing justice themselves. They just go they're in it for the money.
That
they're not
is
in it for the justice. They're like, okay, this person.
But otherwise, they're mercenaries.
Well, no, I mean the idea with bounty hunters, like a bounty is posted, and you can only assume that the bounty is legally posted. I mean, otherwise it's just a hit.
No, that's fair.
It's just a contract, basically.
Yeah,
a hit. But anyway, yes, they find themselves in a rather profitable business of hunting bounties in the galaxy.
But their marital bliss is marred by some health problems that Leia's having, and they manifest in some erratic behavior and increasing lethargy and
sleeping
disinterest.
23 hours a day instead of 22.
Yeah, which for a cat that's a huge deal. Also, how she manages to get so much done in the normal 2 hours that she's not napping is.
Have you seen cats run around at 2 a.m?
Yes, I have.
There you go.
That's the one. Okay. And being the supportive and concerned husband that Leonard Skeonard is, he tries to compensate for her lapses, of course.
And she's just off doing something else, and he managed that for quite a while. But eventually, we're going to have to find a solution to this problem.
Yes, and the first step is obviously to be honest with one another. He has every right to expect honesty from his life partner, until she admits she's under the thrall of an increasing nip dependency on a somewhat illicit substance that's known to be particularly delightful to the feline species.
At first he's like, "Oh, you're on drugs," and it's like, "Oh, he's a little bit judgmental about it."
Yeah, because he's uninformed. He's coming from a place of ignorance,
and he's going, "Oh, I can't believe you're dependent on something like that." There's a bit of a spat in it, which is always interesting to read how a writer resolves an argument between partners in that way.
I thought Charles R. Holness did a very good job. He has a good run on this show for portraying complicated but real relationships.
Yes,
in those books that he's written. written that she does like make counter arguments that are hard to get through to him. Of course, I mean, to which degree can he believe her statements that Nip's not that bad, and really like it's just a relaxant, and it broadens your mind when clearly like she's also suffering dependency. But he does discover that on her home world of Leonia, a planet that they've curiously never visited.
I guess they eloped.
Yeah, well, certainly she escaped from her planet, just in the way that they didn't go back to Earth to introduce her to his parents. Like, why would you? But Leonia, while not much is known about this planet in the intergalactic community, it does have a reputation for being very broad-minded in the recreational use of Nip.
Yes.
And that if anywhere has like therapeutic programs or just the ability to help someone,
it would be there, especially because it's their thing. It's like where the lion people come from. So if anybody knows how to deal with that kind of thing, then it's that planet.
Exactly.
So off to Leonia they go.
Now, as soon as they arrive in the solar system, he immediately realized that something is quite wrong. There are no satellites. There's no. There doesn't appear to be any active space travel. Like, this appears to be a backwater, a closed-off planet, much like Earth was.
Barely any radio communications.
Yeah.
No massive power signatures for power grids, which are like encompassing the planet. Nothing of that.
So the principle of least advancement applies, and he has to have some fun reconstruction on his face in order to appear as a Leonian himself.
Fortunately, they have like advanced medical technology things on their spaceship, which is useful when you're a bounty hunter. When you have got one of those medical pods which you can just like lie down in, like get completely reconstructive surgery if that's needed, and he just reprograms it to have himself changed into a lion, basically. A lion.
Yeah.
Although no six nipples, but that seems to be like fair enough. I mean,
they got the cheap model that only goes sort of down to the shoulders.
She's like that as well. Like, she's got the... I mean, I guess in the furry community this would be called poodling, which was generally frowned. It's just the head and the paws, which seems to be like the,
yes, that's true.
Everything else is smooth human skin. Beautifully bronzed under the warm sun of the Leonian sun.
I've never met a night nurse that was quite that fit.
Well, he wasn't quite a night nurse at that point for quite a while.
No, that's true.
But what do you mean that fit? I mean, they barely have time to eat. They run around for long shifts. They're going to be bone thin. You can't get.
That's what I mean.
No time to train either.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be lean. You're going to be
But I guess as a bounty hunter, he's had plenty of time to work up a little bit of bulk.
Yeah, doing his 0G yoga.
Oh, I thought I came across a beautiful description of judo. The gentle art of folding clothes with the person still inside them.
Oh, yes.
Now I remember what the connection to yoga was, because that was the other one. It was like involuntary yoga.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes, arriving on Leonia, he finds a suitable place to park his spaceship.
Yeah, apparently doing a little bit of damage and causing a little...
Let's just go with artistic freedom of the man who painted the cover. But finds a big settlement and decides to land a ship sufficiently far away from it to not attract overtly amounts of attention, and makes his way towards turns out to be the capital, the city of Catalot. And it doesn't take a long time to figure that it's being ruled by King Arper.
Yes, that's right.
And bringing his sick wife along, he gets enough sympathy, and like he quickly explains to the locals what the problem is, and they go like, "Oh yes, you definitely have to go see the kingdom." The king. This is definitely an issue that needs to be taken care of. She's like throwing...
He's a very hands-on kind of ruler, isn't he?
He is. And it's like they examine her and they go like, oh yes, definitely a case of nip withdrawal. And, I mean, she's been on the stuff. She had some of the stuff. There's plants in the spaceship, but I guess like over time the potency of the strain has kind of died out a little bit too much cross pollination with itself.
Oh, and her increasing tolerance as well.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work out very well. So he's brought before King Arper and his Queen Catalina.
Yes,
sorry, Queen Catalia. I mispronounced that.
Oh, yes. No, that's right. I was going to correct you.
Yeah, thank you. And basically, he gets like brought out in front of her, and she carrying his wife more or less in the way that you can see on the cover.
Yeah, is that the fireman's carry?
Oh no, that's over the shoulder.
Yeah, I thought so too. So it's the bridal carry.
That's the one.
For when you want to smash someone's head into a doorpost. Head and legs, and you just want to smash.
Well, the smashing usually comes a little bit later after you make it across.
Yeah, the smashing comes after you cross the threshold.
That's the one. And basically brought it in Catalot, and they show much concern of her, and they get assigned a nice tower room where she can like
that was the royal treatment.
Sleep for her 23 hours a night. And although there is a bit of a problem, it seems, when one of the King Arthur's advisors, a man by the name of Percival,
yes,
he has his doubts about Leonard, because he has his suspicions. He doesn't really cat well enough. His tail's not really... I mean, he's got one now, but he doesn't really know how to handle and hold it. So
exactly, he's always tripping over it, and
he got it smacked in a door once, and much to the hilarity of the court.
His ears don't move right. You can never quite see what he's listening at.
Exactly. So, and he goes and investigates to see where this mysterious Leonard person came from. Goes on a little quest around town, finds out where they came from, follows their tracks, and eventually finds their spaceship and goes like, "Oh, what's this? We have something. We have weirdness afoot."
That's defying the principle of least advancement.
Yes,
by contaminating this innocent planet with knowledge of space travel.
Mm-hmm. So Percival heads back into Catalot, where he goes to seek out the head of the Catholic Church.
Yes,
which is run by Archbishop Merlin.
Oh God, this was such a good book.
It was fantastic.
I really enjoyed it. Yes, the Archbishop Merlin, holder of the sacred gong.
Yes. I love the half page of bong that we had at one point,
with which he anoints the sacred healing waters, which Percival was originally sent to go and fetch, trying to bring Leia out of her stupor with the healing properties of the gong water.
Yes.
Now that's not. We all know it's never quite as successful. Like, it sounds like a great idea, but it really isn't.
Anybody who's had any experience with the gong water should know that. Like, don't drink it.
Yes,
even rubbing it on you is like not a good idea, but drinking it is really the worst idea ever.
And it's, I mean, this is something that we find out that King Arthur is kind of known for his ideas, and all the kings that they've had. Like, the ideas seem pretty good, coming from on high ideas, one might call them. This phenomenon where the chiefs just have the worst ideas sometimes is known as chiefing.
I mean, they get together and they chief the hell out of it, I guess.
And they can be quite blunt sometimes.
Oh, yes. It's one way to deal with the nip.
So, while various ineffectual therapies are being tried, and Leonard is becoming a little bit impatient, like the paradisical peace of Leonia and the city of Catalot is shattered by the sudden arrival of gigantic, what are known as fusion stakes, being shot down out of the sky, like huge sort of javelins.
It's Les Rodham again, isn't it?
Building size. Well, yeah. and Leonia is rodded by these giant stakes from space, jamming themselves into the ground, claiming essentially an area of space around Catalot for a group of core prospectors who have not really respected the
least interference principle.
No, exactly. So as this team of vile prospectors that see this glorious planet only as just a lump of minerals for them to explore, like they've staked a claim that covers half a continent where they intend to do their fossicking. Now, I didn't know that word before.
No, nor I.
Now, it's literally the word for like modern prospecting, recreational, very often.
People hunting for opal or panning for gold and stuff like that. Queen Catalia sadly perishes in the first attack run of the core prospectors, and sending Arthur into a violent rage at his loss of his beloved queen.
Oh, he has a hissy fit.
Absolutely so. Starts the clawful resistance against the core prospectors.
And Percival, he dons his helmet and he stands there sort of scowling up, yelling, "I am the Claw!"
Yes.
And it's not very impressive, but I sort of got the reference.
Arch my back.
Yes, I'm really arching their back to make themselves look big. They inflate the balloons around the city to make the city look big. It's not it's kind of a weird show. But so in response, realizing that the planet is inhabited, the prospectors come down to the planet. It's actually a fairly small team, considering a couple of gentlemen named Lethargibald, and he's kind of lazy, so he'd suit, and Dischargeable, who has a horrible skin disease.
Oh, I thought he was like a bit because of his criminal past.
That could have been it.
Criminal insanity. Dischargeable.
And the female member of the team, Margibald, under the leadership of Sargibaldi.
Sargibaldi, yes. He was Italian.
Who knows? They're here. They're with their proton pickaxes to try and clear this resistance out, so they can smash a portion of the planet and filter the core through their solar sluice.
I've heard of like hydrogen scoops and stuff like that, but I've never heard of a solar sluice before. At least not before.
Well, you
I read
know
this
how
book.
with prospects, like they used to go panning for gold. You put it like a much easier way to do that is to have like a box with a filter in that you can put in the water, and then you can shovel mud in there.
Yeah.
And then the action of the water will
Filter
wash
it
the
out
mud
itself.
away.
Yeah,
and
I've seen similar contraptions built in where you can like see the different minerals like kind of auto separate out of vibrating pan. It's very beautiful to see.
their ship is automatically building one of these in space, a giant sort of planet-sized gravity web, and all they have to do is smash the planet, and the solar winds will blow everything through the filter.
So King Arper, vowing revenge on this group, decides to take Leonard and his beautiful wife Leia to the secret city of Lioness.
Ooh. Now, that's of course, the center of real power.
It is. I mean, Catalot is just the fiction that they maintain for any visitors from outside.
Yeah.
Which is like this lovely pastoral little city.
I know. It satisfies all the preconceptions that one might have of a primitive Leonian planet.
You'd almost think that you're in Disney World, which is like turns out to be like hidden valleys full of greenhouses, which are used to grow the nip supply that this planet is so famous for.
Oh yeah,
it's like he's seeing the regular nip fields outside, but that's just like the commercial stuff that goes sent off planet. This is the hardcore stuff that they use for their own people, and the secret power of the cloth of resistance.
Yes, yeah.
Which is run by a man by the name of Pablo.
Pablo, yes, of the Pablo resistance.
Yes, he's the head nip cultivar of the planet.
Yeah, and under his, he's continuing a tradition of like the quality of the product that they produce here is astonishing to Leonard. Like it's not merely for recreational use, but like they make their clothes out of it. It has fantastic material properties,
and not only that, it is in fact the most precious substance in the universe.
Yeah,
because it extends life, it expands consciousness, and it allows the cats to fall time and space. Because everybody knows how cats do that, you know. It's like you think that the cat is suddenly there's a cat which you would sworn was in another room like a moment ago, and they've just like space-time folded and like suddenly they're somewhere else.
It's the only explanation. And so as Pablo insists the nip must flow.
Exactly. The powerful resistance uses their space folding abilities to attack the prospectors and like launch an attack against their base, destroy the proton pickaxes and their
and the solar sluice.
The solar sluice, that's the word I was looking for. Yes.
Yeah. And teaching Leonard their ways. He learns their mantra. I must not purr. I will let it pass over me and through me, and wherever it goes, only I will remain.
And after he has his own mind-bending experience when he's fed a
that's right,
dose of the
gong water of life. Yes, I think it's called.
It is.
Yes, it opens his 19th chakra,
and his 9th chakra, I believe it is. Like
it's
the cat number.
Yes. The cats have the 9th chakra. That's right.
And he joins the powerful resistance to help rid them of the prospectors who are threatening their planet.
Yeah, joined by a newly recovered Leia who reveals her illness was not the mere dependency that it seemed. It was a bit of a ruse in order to draw him back to this
That took me entirely
planet.
by surprise.
Yeah, right?
That was a nice twist at the end where it turns out that she kind of orchestrated this in order to bring him into the fold of the people of
Leonia.
Yes.
Yeah, as she sensed through her own exposure to the high quality lioness nip, the future calamity that her planet would face. So the villains now, obviously, they can't be released into space now that they know the Leonian secrets.
Yes.
So they're punished and they're trapped in the hot box, and everybody goes and celebrates with some nice brownies.
Exactly. Traditional feline celebration. The men are put to work to restore some of the damage they've... Oh, that's of course what caused the damage we see on the ship. It's like the prospecting with their proton pickaxes, like
they already
tearing up
smashed
the landscape. And
that's right.
That's of course. No, of course it all makes so much sense now.
These books always do.
Once you get that how it works out like that.
I really enjoyed this book.
It was a great fun. It was a great book.
There was a lot of like different sort of thematic plot lines that I think really came together.
I think Mr. What's his name again?
Charles L. Harness.
Mr. Harness, really did a good job of making a great book out of this.
Yeah, and I hope we encounter him in a few more episodes as well, because we're on a good roll
We'll have
here.
to see if he's done any more books with an interesting cover. So,
The Firebird didn't really come up, did it?
I think it was the name of the ship or something.
It's probably something like that. It's
Yeah.
weird how sometimes the title just has no bearing on the book, just the cover.
Yeah.
Also, the science really didn't.
I guess there was the science from the prospectors.
Yeah, the battle between love and science.
Yeah.
I'm going to dock Harness a few points for that, because I don't think he fully realised the potential of his cover. But I think he did a very good job. So how are we going to rate this book?
Out of 9.
Out of 9?
Come on.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that.
I'll give it an 8 out of 9.
8 out of 9. Man, you're getting more and more generous, I find.
No, I think we've always been. We only review books we like, so we are
That's
always...
right. There's going to be. I mean, eventually we're going to have to encounter a more challenging book that maybe we'll review in a more multidimensional, but
Slightly
in this
more
case,
critical, even.
I've got to say I agree.
Yeah,
it's
great. 8 out of 9 on the scale of cat.
And speaking of reviews, if you looked out at your podcasting device, you should be seeing some opportunity to leave a little review for yours F Trulies. We'd love to hear from you. We're Covering My Asscast on Twitter, coveringmyasscast@gmail.com. If you've got a cover that you really, really think that we should review the baffling book of, sentence makes sense when I say it like that. Word order.
You were doing so
syntax.
well.
I sometimes do. So what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Next week's book is by John Birmingham.
Ah.
He died with a falafel in his hand.
Covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Kaki.
I'm Kay, and
We only judge a book by its cover. Harper, he was my favourite. I love how he was sitting on the throne, just kind of chilling the whole time, and just chiffing all day long, just explaining about how the Mayans invented cell phones. When you think